full pictures of the drugs: 349 pounds of marijuana, 2 kilos of crack cocaine.
68 targets, 50 have received trafficking charges as a result of this operation.
These drugs you see here, guns and money off the streets, and the people involved behind bars.
The Lee County Sheriff's Office has just executed one of the largest county-level narcotics operations in Florida history. A coordinated sting that ended with 68 arrests, 39 search warrants, and nearly $1 million worth of drugs seized. Officials are calling it Operation Candyman Crackdown, a months-long investigation aimed at dismantling drug networks ahead of Halloween, when law enforcement feared fentanyl-laced candy and vape products could enter local neighborhoods. At dawn, teams of deputies, detectives, and tactical units launched simultaneous raids across Fort Myers, Cape Coral, Lehigh Acres, and Bonita Springs, taking down major suppliers and dozens of street-level dealers. The results were staggering. Detectives recovered 349 pounds of marijuana, over 2 kilograms of cocaine, half a kilogram of fentanyl, 621 packets of kratom, and smaller quantities of heroin, methamphetamine, and ecstasy. Authorities say the seized narcotics had a combined street value of $987,000, nearly breaking the $1 million mark.
This impressive seizure is proof that my mission to rid poison of the streets of Lee County is working.
Sheriff Carmine Marcino said the operation removed poison before it reached our children, warning that the dealers targeted schools and family neighborhoods by disguising drugs as candy and vape cartridges. In addition to the massive drug haul, deputies confiscated 26 firearms, including assault-style rifles, stolen pistols, and illegal modifications designed to convert semi-automatic weapons into fully automatic fire. They also seized a Lincoln Navigator SUV, multiple luxury sedans, and $90,000 in cash from stash houses and suspect residences. Investigators described how these vehicles were used in door-to-door drug deliveries, where traffickers disguised cocaine and fentanyl inside candy packaging and vape boxes. As dangerous as it is deceptive, one detective said. Parents might not even realize what's inside their own child's Halloween basket. Federal analysts assisting with the case confirmed the presence of counterfeit candy wrappers and vape labels designed to mimic brands like Skittles and Jolly Rancher. According to Sheriff Marcino, this was no small-time street ring. It was a structured network with runners, stash managers, and regional distributors. They hid in plain sight, Marcino said, using Halloween to move death through our streets. The raids unfolded with military-level precision as SWAT units breached multiple addresses simultaneously at sunrise. Tactical teams executed all 39 warrants without a single injury, seizing suspects and evidence before word could spread through local networks. Neighbors reported hearing flashbangs, helicopters, and shouting officers as suspects were pulled from homes and garages. Among the 68 arrested were repeat offenders with prior federal convictions for weapons and narcotics crimes. Many had been under surveillance for months, caught on undercover footage during controlled drug buys. Deputies also discovered ledgers and phones linking suspects to supply sources across Miami-Dade and Hillsborough counties, suggesting the operation was part of a broader regional distribution chain. Sheriff Marcino called the results a full-spectrum assault on every tier of the local drug economy. Of the 68 individuals arrested in Operation Candyman Crackdown, 50 now face trafficking charges under Florida's Controlled Substances Act. The remaining suspects were charged with possession, intent to distribute, or aiding a criminal narcotics enterprise. According to court filings, several defendants have prior felony convictions for weapons and narcotics distribution and had been under continuous surveillance for months. Detectives described the ring as a multi-tiered operation where top-level suppliers funneled narcotics into Fort Myers and Cape Coral, while smaller street dealers handled neighborhood-level sales. Sheriff Carmine Marcino stated that these arrests cut the head off a network that profited off addiction and fear. He noted that many suspects had direct ties to regional gangs, using threats and violence to maintain control of their street corners. "We've sent a clear message," Marcino said. "If you deal drugs in Lee County, you will be hunted, caught, and caged." At a press conference flanked by tables stacked with seized narcotics and firearms, Sheriff Marcino held up a bag of fentanyl disguised in candy packaging. This is what they're selling. Not candy, not fun, but death, he said. We took this poison off the streets before it reached a single child. He added that the timing of the operation was deliberate. A Halloween season enforcement push meant to intercept dealers marketing fentanyl-laced candy and vape pens near schools and youth events. Marceno's tone was firm but proud. In the spirit of Halloween, we made sure these dealers traded their candy for cuffs. He emphasized that the success of Operation Candyman Crackdown relied on precision and planning, not luck. This wasn't random, he said. Every suspect was mapped, tracked, and cornered. Behind the operation's success was a highly coordinated multi-agency effort. The Lee County Sheriff's Narcotics Unit led the charge, supported by the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, the DEA Tampa Field Division, and U.S. Marshals Service fugitive teams. Months of digital surveillance, undercover purchases, and vehicle tracking led agents to stash sites across Southwest Florida. Tactical coordination was described as a full-spectrum assault on every tier of the drug economy, from suppliers to street runners. The raids occurred across 12 neighborhoods in a single morning, with SWAT and K-9 units simultaneously executing dozens of warrants. Drones provided real-time aerial feeds, while analysts monitored radio channels to ensure officer safety. Sheriff Marceno credited his team's discipline. No one was hurt, no shots fired, and no suspect escaped. That's what a professional operation looks like. The community response was immediate. Parents expressed relief after weeks of rumors about drug-laced candy near schools. Teachers and local leaders praised deputies for their swift action. At a town hall meeting following the operation, several residents said they had witnessed suspicious activity near playgrounds and convenience stores, unaware they were living beside active drug houses. They were hiding in plain sight, one Fort Myers resident said. Sheriff Marceno addressed those fears directly. We can't let our neighborhoods turn into open-air markets. These criminals had every chance to stop. They didn't, so we stopped them. Officials also confirmed that child safety awareness patrols will remain active through the holiday season, ensuring that no residual supply of disguised narcotics remains in circulation. We promised families a safe Halloween, Marceno said, and we delivered. Sheriff Carmine Marceno confirmed that Operation Candyman Crackdown is far from over. Digital evidence recovered from seized cell phones, cash ledgers, and encrypted chat logs is now being analyzed by the Florida Department of Law Enforcement's Cybercrime Division, which expects to uncover links to higher-tier suppliers operating outside Lee County. This was only phase 1, Marceno said. We took down the street dealers first. Now we're tracing the supply chain back to its roots. Detectives are already preparing new warrants for individuals connected to the Fort Myers and Miami corridors, where intercepted communications suggest the drugs were sourced. Federal agencies, including the DEA's Tampa Field Division and Homeland Security investigations, have joined the next phase, working to identify whether any of the seized fentanyl batches match cartel production signatures seen in previous Florida cases. Every gram tells a story, one DEA analyst noted, and we intend to follow every one of them. The sheriff's office reaffirmed its zero-tolerance policy toward narcotics and firearms trafficking. Marceno said the agency's commitment to proactive enforcement is what keeps Lee County's neighborhoods safe. Removing poison from the streets is the easy part, like taking candy from a baby, but keeping it off requires relentless pressure. He confirmed that deputies will continue unannounced saturation patrols and narcotics sweeps throughout the holiday season. According to Marceno, the Halloween timing of the operation wasn't symbolic, it was strategic. Law enforcement had received intelligence about traffickers disguising fentanyl-laced pills in Halloween-themed wrappers and vape containers, leading investigators to accelerate the operation's execution. They thought the disguise would make it harmless, Marceno said. But the only thing it did was make it easier for us to find them. Officials described the operation as both a public safety victory and a message to other dealers who believe they can hide behind clever marketing. The aftermath of the crackdown has already changed the tone of Southwest Florida's drug landscape. Dozens of mid-level dealers are now off the streets, and local emergency response units have reported a drop in fentanyl overdoses since the arrests. Parents and teachers across Lee County have expressed gratitude, saying the sting brought long-awaited peace of mind. Community groups are now partnering with the sheriff's office to expand drug education programs in schools, while local pharmacies have reported a surge in residents requesting fentanyl test kits and Narcan training. Marceno called these developments a sign of awareness and resilience, adding that prevention and education are the next front lines. "We can arrest 1,000 dealers," he said, "but if we educate one child to say no, that's how we win the war long term." Federal and state officials hailed Operation Candyman crackdown as a model for other counties. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement has already begun adapting the Lee County blueprint for statewide use, focusing on data-driven mapping and simultaneous raid execution. Marceno confirmed that follow-up raids are imminent, targeting remaining supply nodes identified through the operation's intelligence. "If you're still dealing in Lee County, understand this, we're coming for you next," he warned. The sheriff closed his remarks with a statement that captured the operation's spirit. "This was never about numbers or headlines. It's about families being able to walk their streets without fear. It's about parents knowing their kids can go trick-or-treating safely." Officials described the operation as a wake-up call to every dealer still operating in Florida. Lee County is not open for business. "This is not the end," Marceno said. "It's just the first round. Lee County will never be a safe place for drug dealers again."